Hi there. My name is Paul Grote. Welcome to my channel. My background, done lots of things over the years. I've been studying personal development for probably 25 or 30 years. Done lots of trainings. I'm a master practitioner, an NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, studied Psych K, firewalking, all kinds of stuff. And I'm really intrigued with things related to the mind and also how we create things. And this particular video, I want to talk to you about a lot of things that keeps people stuck in life, the things that I learned and things that I wish I knew a long time ago. I'm probably older than most of you guys. I don't look 25, but what can I say? I also have a really bad sense of humor, and I like to make people laugh, but I also like to make myself laugh. So, if I can think of all the things that one of the biggest things I think problems with humanity is most people know absolutely nothing about the one thing they need to know about the most, and that's themselves. And most people sort of plow through life blindly without really understanding how we work. Why do we get upset? What are we reacting to? We have this illusion that we're reacting to the moment. But these amazing things we have up here, we have to make sense of our reality. So if you're struggling in life, there's a couple of really good reasons for it. And most of it will come down to is you don't understand how your mind works and what you're doing. You think that you're reacting in the current time, and that's just not how it works. And, a lot of people come, oh, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. And if they talk more about how we work, that you'd see things differently. And I think unfortunately, throughout the history of humanity, there's been groups of people that have had a vested interest in disempowering the public. And that was really good evidence in the education system in North America, which never taught people how to balance a checkbook. So I want you to just know you're not broken. And the biggest problem you have is you just don't understand how your mind works and what you need to do to make it work properly and how to update if you're stuck. And so we take on beliefs, and we're really run by our beliefs. And one of the biggest problems is that we don't know what beliefs we have. Many of the core beliefs that we took on, that you took on, that I took on, we took on early in life and trying to make sense of the world. We were born into this amazing world, and we don't understand how, that first of all, we were born with this survival mechanism, which is great. Humanity's gone through lots of developments and changes over the centuries and centuries, and we've had to survive a lot of, right from dinosaurs to world wars and in everything in between. And so this body we have, this organism we have, has a built-in mechanism for survival. And so we're always searching for threats right from the minute we're born. In fact, they're really we're picking up information prior to our birth. And then from birth to about age 2, we're in what's known as delta brain frequency, which is you and me as adults would associate with deep sleep. And we're absorbing all kinds of information. And our primary process in that age, 0 to 2, is a survival. And guess what? We don't have any control. We can't get up and go make a cheeseburger or whatever. We're really relying on our caregivers and their skills or lack thereof, unfortunately. There's a lot of people that don't have a lot of great skills because they were also raised by somebody who didn't have a lot of skills, and we just pass this crap on from generation to generation. So next, from 2 to about age 7, we're in what's called theta frequency, which is still way below what we're in right now. There's delta, theta, alpha, which is sort of coming down into sleep, and then most of us spend our whole day in what's called beta, and there's one above it called gamma. But so as we lower our brain frequencies, we're more open to suggestion and more open for things like hypnosis and more open to taking on the ideas and absorbing the information around us and making changes in our thoughts. So from 0 to 7, we're in delta and theta, which is deep hypnosis. And we're just being hypnotized by what's going on around us. And that, for the most part, it's really our interaction with our caregivers and the stress they're going through and how competent they are and how good they are at raising children. And we're taking on all this programming. And that becomes the foundation of who we are. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so the problem, what happens in life, so we're taking on all this blind programming and we want something different. But what we survive with under age 7 is painted as survival based. And that's good news and bad news because you survived. The bad news is if you took on beliefs, let's say your parents were never around and you took on a belief that nobody loves me or, I'm good at this or I'm bad at this or whatever, you're going to take on beliefs related to those and they're going to become part of the foundation of who you are. And that becomes part of what's known as our self-image, which I come back to this channel because I'm just about to release a book on our self-image because we all live inside the confines of our self-image, which is really about the beliefs we have about who we think we are and what we're capable of. Now the problem is if you took on a bunch of beliefs that didn't serve you as a child, nobody loves me, or the foundation for codependency is I've got to be really nice to get love from other people. And a lot of the things that we can take on as kids just don't serve us as adults. Yes, we survived our childhood, but the beliefs we took on as a child will work against us. And what happens is when you get older, you have a goal to do something. You want to get out and you want to be a multimillionaire. You want to have a great relationship and stuff. You unconsciously will keep reverting to the programming you took on as a child. I'll give you an example. I was studying this fellow by the name of Harville Hendrix and his wife. He wrote a book called Get the Love You Want, a guide for couples. And he's been working family therapy. He was on Oprah 17 times or something like that. Really phenomenal therapist. And one of the things he noticed, he said, we are attracted to somebody as part of our imprinting from childhood who has the positive and negative traits of our caregivers. Does that scare you? Depends on your caregivers. And so we end up repeating a lot of this stuff we picked up as children. And so if your caregivers were loving and caring and really good, well, that's one thing. But if your caregivers, like mine were never around. Not because they didn't want to be, it's because they worked a long way away from where we lived. They wanted us to have a nice house. We bought a house outside of Toronto, a little town called Kleinburg. And they worked in downtown. Mom was on TV and Dad worked for IBM. And so they would leave 7 o'clock in the morning and not get home till 7 at night. And so I spent most of my childhood with nobody there for me. And so I took on, hey, there's nobody there for me. And that belief would keep playing out in my relationships and the people I was attracted to. So I'll tell you a funny little, well, not funny at all, but so I was attracted to somebody who I could not rely on. If I did attract somebody I could rely on, like there was a couple of people I went out with that were spectacular. A friend of mine lives way down in New Zealand, and they were exceptional. And I unconsciously would sabotage the relationship because I had to make that belief true, that there was nobody there for me. And this is one of the problems, these core beliefs, because they're associated with survival, and this will be in another video, and you want to come back because you need to understand that these core beliefs you took on as kids, there's a series of systems. There's 4 different things that happen that your brain goes out of its way to prove these beliefs, even though they hold you back in life, are true because you survived. And so if you have a belief that I'm unlovable, your subconscious mind is, oh, this is who you are. You're somebody who's unlovable. I'm going to make sure that I prove that belief is true, and I'm going to go out of my way like crazy to make sure that you're unlovable. How's that work out for you? And so you go, why do I keep ending up in these awful relationships? And why do I keep, nobody loves me? And why do I keep doing all this stuff? And most people just think, well, I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. And that's not what it is. Your younger self took on a belief, and you have parts of you that were based on survival that are out proving that belief is true. And you're creating a result based on your own programming. Much of it you're not even aware of. And here's the good news. When you become aware of it, you learn how to update your old programming, your life changes. And that's what my book's coming out in a little while, very shortly. It's on our self-image, because our self-image is a collection of all these beliefs. Some of them we might be aware of, like I'm finally aware of that, hey, I'm unlovable. When I was a kid, to get attention, I had to jump up and down and get my parents' attention. And so I know that was where I got it from. And I'll tell you something, that's not one thing you want to have as an adult, because you keep jumping up and down in your relationships and it doesn't go over very well. People think you're really screwed up, but it's just if you're struggling in your relationships or you're with somebody that's struggling, it's likely because they picked up something as a child that is buried into their subconscious mind that's controlling how they do things. And the part of the problem too is if you know Carl Jung he starts talking what's called our shadow self. And this is really part of the problem is we have these beliefs, but if I ask you right now, what are your core beliefs from childhood? You go, huh? What? I haven't got a clue. I sure didn't understand how my core belief around maximizing in my relationships, where I got it from, and that I picked it up as a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old to get attention from my parents because they were so self-occupied. And I just kept doing it. And so if you're stuck in life, it is likely because you have took on a belief as a child that is still playing itself out today, that is still causing you lots of problems. And what you need to start doing is looking for areas where you get upset. Because our upsets most of the time can be really good indication of, hey, there's a belief under this. You wouldn't get up, like I'll give you an example. If I started speaking to you in a language, Martian, for example, we all speak Martian, and I called you every name in the book, you just sit there and go, huh, what? Because it's not wired in your neurology. You have no way to make sense of it. The reason we get upset is because we make sense of it based on our own experience. So, you're not broken. You're programmed. You've taken on some programming that is outdated, that is holding you back in life. You start looking for areas where you are stuck and you keep repeating the same cycle, either in relationships or at work, but start following your upsets and asking yourself, why am I upset? And there's a great program out there called Choose Again. He had 6 steps, and the first one is, I'm upset. Just admitting you're upset. Number 2 is, it's about me. I don't care if the driver just cut me off. My upset's about me. Number 3 is, it's not about today, because it almost never is. We get upset because whatever's happening today is reminding us of something that happened a long time ago. And keep coming back, because I'm really dedicated to helping you. And I'll be putting up a lot more content in the next little while. And I hope this gave you some things to think about. Again, if you're upset, it's generally not about today. If you're not getting what you want in life, it's likely because there's some kind of a belief conflict, which we'll talk about in detail, and I'll help you as much as I can. And just understand that and learn. Be open as much as you can to learning everything you can about yourself. And because, 99.9% of people know absolutely nothing about themselves, why we do the things we do. And that ignorance is why I think part of the major problems in the world, why the wars and why everything else, because everything's about beliefs. Well, I believe you're an idiot, or I believe you're a nice person, or I believe you're a threat, or I believe you're this. It's because we talk ourselves into all this crap. And humanity really we need to revamp how we are, like thinking and solving all our problems with wars and acting out. We need to start learning more about us and look at this phenomenal gift we have called life. And in this gift I have called life, how can I learn? How can I be a better person? How can I help humanity? How can I help humanity evolve? Anyways, I hope come back again, and I will do everything I can to help you moving through this process called life. And I'll share some of my experiences and things I've done, everything from firewalking and many other things. And I look forward to sharing everything I can to help you have a great quality of life. Take care of yourself. All the best. Bye now.